Hey guys, it's Extreme Strategy here, and today we're checking out another mod for Total War Warhammer 3. This mod is the Toro Skaven Units mod, which adds several brand new Skaven units for you to use inside of your game. First up, we actually have an unnamed unit, and it's the only unnamed unit in this mod. Their attributes are Weeping Blade, Armor Piercing, Causes Tear, and Stalk. And inside combat, these units are just going to tear right through enemies' lines, destroying what armor they have with their Weeping Blade, and then inflicting massive amounts of damage and mass casualties into their lines very easily. These units have a very small unit count, however, they are more than capable of taking on massive amounts of enemies and being able to defeat them inside of combat with extreme ease. Next up is the Krakback Kill Squad. Their attributes are Weeping Blade, Armor Piercing, Causes Tear, and Stalk. And inside combat, they are going to come charging into the enemy's lines, release a Verminous Valor Blast, which is going to send the enemy flying, and begin to engage them inside of melee combat. Next up are the Warp Runners. Their attributes are Vanguard Deployment, Stalk, Snare Net, and Dodge. And inside combat, their Vanguard Deployment is going to allow them to start the battle inside position to open fire onto enemy units, as they fire off volleys of warpstone infused rocks, which are going to be able to do massive amounts of damage to the enemy units. And then when the enemy units finally get close enough to engage in melee combat, the Warp Runners will be able to hold their own for a little while. Next up are the Bubonicus Riders. Their attributes are Anti-Infantry, Magical Aura, and Poison Attacks. And inside combat, their initial charge is going to do massive amounts of damage to the enemy. And then all enemy units will be depuffed by the Slime Trail, Aura of Pestilence, and Poison, allowing for the Bubonicus Riders to absolutely tear them apart inside of melee combat. Next up are the Claws of Ikit, and their only attribute is Anti-Infantry. And inside combat, their initial charge is going to do massive amounts of damage to the enemy, and then they're going to get right into the melee fray, as their massive mounts are going to help them to absolutely tear right through the enemy's lines, ripping any enemy to shreds very quickly. Next up are the Poxigors. Their attributes are Armored, Armor Piercing, and Rampage. And inside combat, they're going to use their massive Warpstone weapons to rip right through the enemy's lines, as they raise their massive weapons over their heads time and again and slam them into their enemies, easily being able to rout any enemy that they come across. Next up are the Doom Bombers. Their attributes are Armored, Armor-Piercing Missiles, and Anti-Infantry, and inside combat they have a massive amount of various weapons at their disposal, ranging from a Scorch ability to their massive Warpstone weapons that they fire into the enemy's lines, to a Brass Orb that'll absolutely rip a skink cohort to shreds, and also the Sky Hammer Bomb, which is going to release a barrage of bombs into the enemy's lines, resulting in the Doom Bombers having more than enough firepower to easily bring down any enemy that they come across. Next up are the Doom Gunships. Their attributes are Armored, Armor-Piercing Missiles, and Anti-Infantry, and then inside combat, the Doom Gunships are going to use their Deathglow Gatling Guns to do massive amounts of damage to enemy units. And when those enemy units get too close, the Doom Gunships can begin to drop Gyrocopter bombs right into their lines to do massive amounts of damage, meaning that between the bombs and the Deathglow Gatling Guns, the Doom Gunships will be more than capable of tearing any enemy units to shreds very quickly. Next up are the Man Crushers. Your attributes are Armored, Causes Tear, and Unbreakable. Inside combat, they'll use their Warp Lightning Cannons to do massive amounts of damage to enemy units. And then when inside of melee combat, they will use the massive spikes on the front of their vehicles to skewer any skink that comes too close. Next up is the Man Crusher Deathfire. Its attributes are Armored, Causes Tear, and Unbreakable. And inside combat is going to release a hail of Warpstone projectiles at the enemy units. It's not going to be the most accurate of weapons, but when it does land a hit, it'll be able to do massive amounts of damage. And it'll use its secondary weapon, the Lesser Doom Bolt, which is going to be more than capable of doing massive amounts of damage to the skink cohorts, easily routing one of them. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Also, go check out the Discord server and subscribe to this mod. Links both those in the description below. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.